Welcome to Freedom Cast, a podcast dedicated to interviewing star icons and entrepreneurs who have encouraged others to become more healthy and active. My name is Ashton, and it's my pleasure to host you as we take another trip through the fitness industry. It's entertaining and informative, and I hope it makes fitness more exciting and special to you in your own fitness journey. Freedom Cast is supported by Freedom Fitness Equipment in Charlotte, North Carolina. Freedom Fitness Equipment serves the health and fitness community nationwide, from free weights and strength equipment for home gyms and studios to cardio and conditioning equipment for commercial spaces. Check them out at freedomfitnessequipment.com. Let's get rolling with today's show. Just want to welcome Marianna Bedoya. Is that the right day?
Yep, Bedoya. Yeah.
Excellent, to the podcast. And she is, I will probably end up putting a super clickbaity title to this video. It'll probably be the most swole teacher on TikTok.
Possibly.
There you go. So you've been putting out some really good content. I wanted to have you on. It's hard to find folks like yourself. I was just saying earlier that aren't shilling for really stupid things, 6-minute abs and detoxes, particularly like women in the space who are just, I don't know what it is. Like, guys do it too. Don't get me wrong,
Absolutely.
But like, I don't know. It's just really hard to find good fitness creators. So you seem to be one of them. And just thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Can you, just for our listeners, can you give us a little bit of background about who you are and how this all got started?
Sure. So I'm Marianna. I've been lifting for about 3 years now, actively lifting for 3 years. I'm also a teacher. I teach middle school and high school Spanish. This is my 3rd year teaching. So it's been a little bit of a hot mess, to say the least, in terms of teaching with COVID. But yeah, I've been lifting for 3 years. It's interesting you bring up, that aspect of bad diets or like 6-minute abs and detoxes and things like that, because I think at some point we all kind of start there, because I know that I had a point in the very beginning of my fitness journey where I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And I did those, 1 week challenges or like detox juice cleanses and all this other random stuff. And then figuring out that it didn't work time and time again, I had to, kind of follow up with a different approach. So then I kind of switched that mentality and got into lifting a lot more.
Nice. When did lifting become a thing for you? Because the stereotype is women cardio, that's all they do. Like, when did that become a thing?
That's where I started. Yeah. So it was after I finished I finished college. I graduated, and at that point I had gained, all the weight that you gain in college. So I was at like a weight where I was not happy. I was going to be going into the workforce and, going on interviews and this and that. And I was about to start my grad program. And I was like, I don't feel good. Like it was like, I had really low confidence. I was like, if I'm going to stand in front of a classroom and, empower kids and have them feel confident, and I don't feel confident myself and how I look and how I approach everything, it's not going to work. So I started, how you said, a lot of women tend to just gravitate towards cardio because it can be really intimidating to think of lifting weights when the majority of the people in the weight room are males. So I did a ton of cardio, a good 6 to 8 months of just cardio. I was doing like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes on the Stairmaster, like 6 times a week. It was ridiculous. Don't do that. Anyone listening, do not do that. Do not follow my steps. Please learn from my mistakes. I was doing so much cardio, and yes, I lost a good amount of weight. And a lot of people have this idea of you get smaller and that equates to being happier, or at least for females, it's all right, how skinny or thin can I get? And that's going to immediately be, all right, it's like a flip of a switch, and you're like, I'm good, I'm happy. And I got really thin, and I was like, wait, I still don't have the best self-esteem. I still don't have the confidence in myself. And that's when I was like, okay, what else can I really do here? Because I was like, I don't enjoy feeling this frail. So that's when I started, my Instagram, and saw a lot of different influencers on there, and saw some really great women lifting weights. And I was like, oh, that seems like something I could try. And then that's when I kind of started testing the waters there and really getting into lifting. So
Nice. I'm curious, who did you start following initially?
initially, I started following, her handle is fit.with Yulia, Iulia, and I am a huge fan of hers still, even still. She is like 26 years old. She was super like down to earth and like showed how to do all of these movements in the gym like for beginners. And she has 2 kids now, so she showed her entire process of like going through having a baby and like postpartum and this and that. And like she was actually one of the first people like whose apps I've like bought, and like she has like a whole workout plan for people that are either at home or at the gym, super easy to follow for beginners. So I give her so much credit, and it's crazy because now like we follow each other, and like I've had conversations with her, and like just so it's been super cool like to just grow in that aspect. And now like she follows me on social media, like she likes my posts, and I'm like, oh my goodness, my fitness idol like knows who I am. And it's like because of her I started lifting. So she was honestly the first person that I can think of that showed me that lifting weights was a way to really feel empowered and confident in yourself. So it's not always just the physical image, which is, so closely knit to fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that, I'm looking at your wall behind you and I got distracted a little bit. Do you have multiple degrees? What's going on here?
So I have my 2 undergrad degrees, one in education and then one in Spanish.
Okay.
And then I also have my master's degree in curriculum and instruction for education.
Fantastic. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was just curious because have you thought about getting your PT certification, or is not PT cert? Yeah, personal trainer certification. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I just started studying for that course like a week ago. Yeah,
Sweet.
It's been on my mind for over a year. And like last year, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, sign up for it. I'm going to wait till the summer. I'm going to wait till this. And, if you wait for the perfect time, you're never going to end up doing it. So my New Year's resolution was I'm buying this course and I'm going to start. And I've started studying. Yeah. So I'm hopefully in a few months, I will be certified and going to kind of, get my feet wet a little bit with that and see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exciting. What's been your biggest mission just with the content? What is the thing that you really want people to hear loud and clear when you're talking to them?
Oh, there's so much. There's a lot. I think first and foremost is your fitness journey is so uniquely tied to you, and it should be very personal, and it should be for the right reasons. Because I think a lot of times, especially for women, it's really easy to go down that comparison game trap with other influencers and other females on social media, because I've been there, I've done it, and I did it for a long time. And until I realized like my journey is so uniquely personal and it's individualized, and my experience with it cannot and should not be the same experience that someone else has. I think until I finally understood that, I was able to really just grasp it all like for myself. Like this is something I can be selfish about because it is for me. But in the same way, the struggles that I'm facing, someone else is going to face at some point also. And to not hide that was one of the things that I always told myself with any kind of social media I created. I was like, there's nothing that I want to hide, because that's not fair, because then people don't see how they can relate and how they can also experience those things. So that I'm very transparent in all of my social media and in the struggles I go through and in the highs and the lows. And I've made so many more valuable connections and friendships because of it, because what's the point in hiding it if everyone else experiences it too?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. When was the TikTok account created? Is that fairly recent?
That's really recent. So I swore for the longest time I'm not doing TikTok.
That's everybody.
Dumb. These dumb trends and dances, like I don't care. And during quarantine, like that's when it really blew up. And I downloaded it once and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. Deleted it right away. I was like, I'm done with that. This is not worth it. And all of 2020, the rest of it, I didn't bother with it, didn't care. 2021, downloaded it again. And I was like, this is still dumb. Deleted it again. And then this past summer, 2021, like towards the end of summer, I downloaded it. And I was like, all right, like kind of left it on my phone. And then I started like getting a little bit sucked into the videos. And I was like, all right, maybe they're funny. Maybe they're funny to watch. And then probably like September is when I started like just making videos. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I'm just making this, whatever. And then in like the last like 2-3 months, I've just gone for it. I've just been like, this is actually kind of fun. And it's kind of like taken over in like the best way possible. I'm like, I can't believe I'm actually this into it, but here we are, and I'm kind of rolling with it, and it's been awesome.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, from September to now to have 20,000 followers is impressive. Like,
yeah, I don't even know like what the criteria is anymore. I was like, I don't know. I don't even know why people follow me sometimes. I'm like, some of this stuff is just, I think is so ridiculous, but I'm like, I'm still having fun with it and being myself and being authentic. So I'm like, yeah, if someone else finds it funny, then go for it.
sure. How have you found the TikTok fitness community compared to the Instagram fitness community? Because I've noticed a marked difference. Somebody I follow made a comment about that. Like, there's the TikTok community is very vocal and very uninformed, whereas the Instagram community, they might be uninformed, but they're less willing to like dump on somebody if they don't know something for sure. I don't know. Have you found that to be the case?
I think with TikTok, it's a much shorter attention span of what content you're putting out. At least that's what I've noticed. It's like these clips are so short. So it's like, what can you get out as quick as you can?
Yeah.
In a sense. So like you said, it might not always be the most valuable information, but I've found at least like, because I feel like there's different sides to TikTok, and it's like, what side of TikTok do you end up on? And like, I have friends or like even my students sometimes will bring up like TikToks or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never heard of that. And it's like, well, I'm on a totally different spectrum of TikTok. But what I've noticed in terms of fitness is that at least I think I've landed on like the humorous, funny side of fitness, where it's like the sillier, funny things that like happen in the gym, like when someone walks and takes up your machine and now you don't know what to do next because that was next in your routine. So now you're just sitting, like you're wandering around, or like just silly things like that, like not being able to put the clip on the barbell because those clips are ridiculously hard to navigate at the gym. So it's like little, like the funnier side of TikTok, I think, for the fitness realm has been cool. But yes, I would say Instagram is much more informative, much more thought out in terms of like what content people are putting out, like how to do certain exercises, or people really marketing their brand. I think that's definitely more useful on Instagram, I would say.
Sure. Well, it's more a mature platform. You've got a bunch of like teenagers jumping on TikTok that don't know what they're talking about too. So,
exactly.
And they're ready to talk about it too, which is scary.
Well, that's probably the only place they talk, not in the classroom, I'll tell you that.
Now I am curious, like what's the kids' response been to, like what age group do you teach?
I teach middle school and high school. So I teach 8th grade and 11th grade. Yeah, that's like prime social media. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So what's that been like? Like, because I'm sure they follow you too now.
So my Instagram, not as much. I was very private with my Instagram for a very, very long time. And I didn't make it public probably up until a year ago, maybe, or even less than, because I was so nervous of my students finding it. Because not that there's nothing, and now that the more I think about it, like anything I put on my social media, like I'll back up 110%, and I would never put anything on there that would be even deemed inappropriate. But it's still, it's a different, it's not so common for teachers to really be this engaged in their fitness, at least, or like in their physiques, and like I wouldn't want it to be taken out of context.
Yeah.
So that's the only challenging part at times. But my Instagram, my students haven't, if they know about it, they haven't told me. My TikTok, I have had some students be like, "Oh, you came up on my For You page," and one time, and I was like, Oh, really? That's interesting. Avoid conversation entirely because I am a lot more vulnerable on my TikTok than I am on my Instagram, I'd say, in terms of content. I there's highs, there's lows, there's TikToks of me crying and I'm okay with that. And there's TikToks of me, laughing and having a good time. But at the end of the day, if they see that, I hope that they, realize like, oh, like she's a person and a human and has emotions and feelings and she's a person outside of what I see in the classroom also, but she's real and she's honest. And I'd rather them see that than honestly 90% of the other stuff they're probably watching on TikTok. So
yeah, you're a positive influence for that for sure. So you're pretty jacked, and there's like well, I mean, so there's folks that go after like the smooth slim aesthetic, and then there's women that go after like getting jacked, and I'm a fan of both, but were you going for let's get as swole as I possibly can, or what was the?
No, not at all. Like when I first started lifting weights, like I said, I just didn't want to be super thin and I just wanted to feel stronger.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily like I want to look like this or like that.
Okay.
It was just more of like I just want to feel strong. And once I started lifting weights, and then at one point I had a personal trainer and he taught me how to lift with proper form and how to squat properly, how to bench properly, and what a superset was and a drop set and like all of the things that you ultimately don't really learn about unless you really start getting into fitness. And at a couple points in when I started lifting, he was like, like you have potential to like lift a lot more than this at some point, like if you really take into account your nutrition and like eat more, because at that point I was still nervous and hesitant with the idea of eating more, because for so long you equate eating more with immediate weight gain and then you hate how you look again. And I was like, I just lost all this weight, I'm not trying to do that again. What are you talking about? So I avoided eating more. And until I started working with a different trainer, once I moved back home and started my career and stuff, like I said, I didn't really have a goal in mind, but I kind of started noticing like every couple of weeks I was upping the weights and like bicep curls or shoulder presses or this or that. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like I feel stronger. And then I started to see muscles and I was like, hey, that's kind of cool too. Like what happens if I keep going? And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, we're going to start a bulk. And I'm like, okay, guess I'm going to start a bulk. And my trainer at the time last year was when I did my first ever bulk last winter.
Nice.
And not this past one, the one before that. And I was just like, this is insane. Like first the amount of meat, like I love to eat. So I was like, give me all the food. Like, all right, let's get after this. And then I was just lifting, like I felt like a monster. And I was like, holy cow, this is insane. Like, feeling so strong and just seeing the progress over time, which is when my Instagram came in super handy because I was documenting everything and really seeing the progression of it. And now I'm like, all right, yeah, let's see how swole we can get. Let's see how jacked we can get. Like how much stronger, what numbers can I put up? It's just a constant like one-upping yourself. It's really crazy how your mental growth kind of goes along with it as well.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because not everybody that lifts will get that jacked. But sometimes the aesthetics, depending on whether you're doing the hypertrophy or the strength cycles, like even some guys that are lifting crazy heavy numbers don't look like they lift that heavy, which is really interesting to me. I still can't figure that one out. But have you thought about doing or have you competed at all?
I've never competed. I've had people like especially in like the last year and a half be like, why haven't you competed yet?
Yeah.
Or like, when are you going to compete? Or when are you going to do this? Like you have, the shape, the figure, everything that you could possibly, like you've built a solid base for yourself to compete if you wanted to. And for the longest time, and this is what I always think back on, is I never in a million years would have thought that I would have gotten to this point. And now having that option to compete, I'm like, I'm highly considering it, and hopefully for next year, I do want to try and do a bodybuilding competition.
Nice.
So just the fact that it's even on my radar is still like mind-boggling to me. Or like when people ask, like, "Oh, do you compete?" I'm like, "Who, me? Like I what?" It still like just stuns me, because sometimes you forget like the progress you make, and you know, you think back, like you think you're still that person that you were 3 years ago, or however long when you started your journey. So now having the option to bodybuild, I'm like, if other people see that I could possibly do it, it's like, all right, like why not give it a shot? Like,
Yeah,
worth the experience at least.
sure.
Nothing else.
That'd be huge. I'm curious, going back to the balancing being a school teacher as well as a little lifting. What's your day-to-day look like? Are you lifting in mornings, evenings, kind of getting it in when you can, or is it a struggle
Uh,
balancing that schedule?
it's always a struggle at the beginning of the year,
Mm,
because you kind of have to, especially coming off of summer vacation, when I have like a lot of ample time,
yeah.
and then go into a very structured schedule. But at the same time, like, I thrive off of structure, so I really enjoy having my set schedule, set times. So right now I lift before school 2 days a week
Okay.
at 4 a.m. And then,
Oh, what?
yeah, I
Oh
get
my
up at,
gosh.
yeah, my upper body days, two Mondays and Wednesdays, I lift at 4 a.m. before school.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
yeah, it's tiring just to think about. Um, so it's those days are intense, but I've found that it works best for me,
Mhm.
just because I'm able to get through my whole workday, and then usually in the afternoons I'll either have to stay after school for something, or have a meeting, or have to get extra work done.
Yeah.
So it allows me to have that afternoon time. Plus,
Mhm.
at 4 a.m., there's almost no one at the gym,
I
so I
mean,
don't
it's
have to
yeah.
worry I don't have to worry about waiting around for machines, or like a super crowded gym. So I'm able to like get in, do my thing, and I enjoy it. Like, I've gotten to a point where I enjoy it, and like I can notice the differences on the days that I lift in the morning versus the days I lift in the afternoon. That being said, I cannot hit legs at 4 a.m. It's not going to happen. So those are my afternoon lifts.
Nice. Nice. Are you
Yeah.
lifting like 6 or 7 days a week, or 3 to 5? Like
I
what's the
I am at I'm lifting 5 days a week, and
wow.
then 1 day of conditioning. Yeah.
Oh man. So you're
Mhm.
you're 6 days a week in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
Six
Are
days
you
a week.
doing so is it a split or full body every time?
No, usually a split. So Mondays, usually chest focused, a little bit of back and triceps. Tuesdays and Saturdays are legs. But I do squat and deadlift on both leg days. So leg days are rough. I hate leg days.
Oh
I swear
man.
I'm one of the only girls that hates leg day. I hate leg days.
Really?
I hate squatting. I
I
no.
mean, believe me, I am totally 100% with you, but I have rarely heard that from,
I know.
women
Yeah.
freaking love
Oh,
legs.
I can't stand leg day. I love deadlifts. I will say that I do love deadlifts. That's fun, but squatting and anything else that involves leg day is just give me upper body any day
Yeah.
of the week, and I'm crushing it, and I'm easy.
Yeah.
Leg days take a different kind of mentality and a
They
lot of
really are.
pre-workout.
They really are. I heard somebody describe this once, and I don't know how true this is, that, because your lower body is built to get away from whatever is chasing you, you'll actually fail much, much later in the game in terms of like from a rep count standpoint than you will like doing upper body, like bicep, tricep work and all that stuff. And so I was like, oh, that's great. So it just means more reps on lower body. Wonderful.
Yeah, love that for me.
Love it. It's
Sounds like
good.
a
It's good.
great time.
As if I didn't have enough problems working out
Yeah,
in squats.
let's add some more.
Oh my gosh. So let's see. Oh, just mentioned this up front because I'm a Christian as well. How does your faith played into all of this? And you mentioned you're a Christian right off the bat on TikTok, and how does that
Yeah,
influence kind of the content and things you're putting out?
yeah. So I will say that my like faith in like in relationship with God in the last few months since starting my TikTok has actually like grown tremendously,
Nice.
which I did not expect to happen. But like I've been going to church my entire life since I was little, and but it wasn't up until like recently where I felt like I actually had like gained a better understanding for myself what it meant to like actually have a relationship with God and what religion is and like all the different moving pieces, and there's a lot. And but I feel like I finally have a good grasp of it just for how it works for me and in my daily life. And again, like not something that I ever try to push on others or like, you know, make others feel like it has to be this way or has to be that way, but just more of like how I've changed because of it and how it influences my daily life. And I've noticed like using my faith in just my everyday life, like lifting or like the music that I listen to or the way that I speak about myself or I speak about others, and just making sure that I'm reflecting the qualities that, you know, I want others to see because of my relationship with God. And, you know, reflecting his character through me and everything that I do, whether it's at the gym, whether it's I'm teaching, whether it's I'm in the grocery store. Like I've just realized how much all those small little habits and the small little components really add up to much greater things. And like I said, my faith has grown tremendously from the people I've met on TikTok, and like I've been able to see things from different perspectives and like challenge ideas or have my ideas challenged and like create conversations that have really, you know, opened up my eyes to different just thought processes and opinions. So that's been it's been really cool.
That's all. That's a breath of fresh air on TikTok for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, it's hard to find. It's hard. Like I keep going back to this. It really is hard to find folks like you who are genuine about not only their faith, but you know, the content that they're putting out and combining those two. So good for you. Anybody, you mentioned delay that you followed up initially. Has that anybody else? I'm always on the lookout for not only for myself but also for others. Good, I'll call them influencers to follow, either on TikTok or on Instagram. Anybody that you've seen recently that you're really impressed with that's kind of in the same vein?
Yeah, I think on TikTok, I've definitely found other females. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to, you know, write them down for you or let them know who they are. But just people that are also my age, I found that's been cool, because sometimes, at least like where I live or like people around here, like I don't have many friends that share all of those same interests in the same way, like happen to also be Christian or list or our teachers. It's like I feel like I have pockets of friends in like all these different spots. So being able to find people that like I also can identify with, that share those same kinds of things and put out similar content has been great. So like I said, I don't know off the top of my head, but there are definitely like some great females out there, and a lot of like males also too that I've become friends with. I've actually become really good friends with these two guys in particular who also happen to be teachers, are also Christian, like also lift, and like I've been like duetting with them on TikTok, and like now we have like a group chat, now we're friends, and like it's so cool. And like we're like, how are your kids today? Are they being wild too? Like it's just like stuff like that, and building up all this community. And I'm like, wow, I guess I am a social person. I never really considered myself to be so like socially apt sometimes. So I'm like, this is different, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. Instagram's really good for that. I've been able to connect with folks like yourself just by DMing, and you know, people don't know me out of the blue, and hey, come on, talk. And I've had you've got, I don't, what would you call them? Social media friends now? Is that weird to say?
I don't know. No, I think that's what I would call them. I have so many of them, and I'm like, I talk to some of these people like daily, and some of them I haven't even met. Like I've become like best friends with people through social media, and I've never met them before, and now they're my best friends, and I'm like, this is crazy to me.
It's really neat, particularly in the fitness world. I feel like there's I'm biased towards powerlifting and like the strongman side of things, but I've just I've just come to appreciate that there's a lot of folks in that world that are really outgoing is not the right word, like really approachable. And so, I don't know if you've noticed the same things, but like, there's a lot of personalities out there that have millions of followers and really won't respond to anything, but there's a lot of guys that will. So.
Yeah, I think I know, like for me, like I try to respond to 99% of DMs because I know that like I was also that person that used to reach out to people and like would like even if it was just like a fitness question or advice or like just, hey, I really appreciated you sharing this because I resonated with it and it helped to see. So like when I get messages like that, like I love interacting with people because of that, because I know what it feels like to have that mentality sometimes and to have rough days at the gym and to feel like I'm stagnant in my fitness journey. So like if someone else feels uplifted or motivated because of it, like I'm more than happy to have a conversation about it or answer questions about my own experience, because a lot of times we all end up sharing a lot of the same moments and the same difficulties and challenges and things like that. So I definitely want to be approachable just because I know that my face isn't when I'm lifting at the gym. And I've had people tell me all the time, they're like, I saw you at the gym, but you look really intimidating, so I didn't want to say hi. And I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, and then the next time I see them, I'm like, oh, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. But it can be intimidating sometimes.
Yeah.
So I try to, break that stigma, at least on social media, so people feel like they can approach me.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Well, the reason I was asking earlier about folks that you follow or have followed recently in the world of fitness that you really appreciate, like what they're putting out, is not only is it really hard to find those folks. I've actually done a few videos where I've like done a top 5 recommendations for men, for women, because it's hard to identify like the BS compared to the genuine content. But like, how do you, thinking about that, how do you differentiate if somebody's brand new to fitness, they have no idea what they're doing, they're beginner can get, and they're trying to follow people who know what they're talking about, and they're looking for folks like you? How do you, are there any, what's I'm looking for? Are there any principles that you could say, okay, when you're looking at this person's content, you can usually tell if they're messing around with you by identifying a few different things? Like, are there any good ways that you found to kind of separate the wheat from the tares, I guess?
Right. I think it kind of depends on what you're looking for also, because I know for myself, my fitness page, I wouldn't say I put out like content that I would feel comfortable a beginner necessarily like following what I'm doing, kind of thing. Like I feel like I've become more of like a, this is where I started, this is where you can be, let's encourage and motivate and like inspire kind of thing, and let me show you my challenges from a day-to-day standpoint. And so like I wouldn't say, hey, go tell newbies, go follow her account so you can get beginner lifter tips, because I'm also not a certified trainer. Like I'm not going to put information out there that I can't totally back up on my own yet. But so I'm very hesitant to put even my own workouts or my own lifts, because I do have a coach that programs for me, and for my particular lifting style, like I wouldn't put that content out. But in terms of finding other people, I think you can tell who is posting just for the clout and just for the followers and just for the likes and the views and wanting to be seen just on what they post. And I think people that are able to provide tips on form, like if they're showing a video and they're like, okay, what should you look for when you are squatting? A, B, and C, and like really walk you through it. There are some really great accounts that like do that, or especially with reels now. They're using reels to explain like how you should squat, what to focus on. If you are deadlifting, what cues can you focus on? If you are a beginner, like this is what you should do step by step. So I think looking for people that have the knowledge, and you can usually tell when you're like looking through, like if they're just posting cute pictures and saying that they went to the gym earlier that day, I'm sorry, they might be a great person and I'm not trying to bash them, but if you're trying to get real advice on lifting, I would look for people that like are knowledgeable, that can back up what they say and have actual easy to follow steps, because anyone can post a workout, but if you don't know how to do it, what's the point in following it? So
I love that. I love that. I really do. No, I think it's phenomenal advice. That's kind of those are kind of the things I look for when I'm going after certain accounts. People can get super technical with studies and all that stuff, and that gets somewhat confusing, but yeah, I think that's right on point. Oh shoot, I was going to ask you something about we can always talk fitness myths and things that you've come across that have you done any videos or anything like that lately where you saw something that was so preposterous? TikTok's a really good one for this, that you had to post a response video.
I haven't, but now that you've given me that idea, I might have to. I mean, sometimes even just some of the things you see in the gym. One of the things that I've been noticing, at least recently, are people not doing like complete reps of things. Like it's just like quarter reps. Like if they're doing a squat and it's just like a quarter rep, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like that's not, I don't know. It's just form, I've noticed, has been like my biggest pet peeve recently. Are people like not even so much ego lifting, but I would just say like doing an exercise and not executing it properly, because I've done that in the past. And then once you realize how to do it properly, you're like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. And like I feel like I've gotten to a point where like I don't really care all that much about the weight that's on anything, as long as I know that the form is spot on. Like the weight will come when it comes, but the form is what you need. The base, you can't build unless you have that base. So definitely that I've noticed has been my pet peeve recently. Like when I see lifting videos or anything like that, I'm like, that's not right.
I am curious, you saying that. So when you see that at the gym, guys are a lot more forward about this, I feel like, than women are, but because they'll go up and correct anybody, and
I will not correct anyone.
You don't do that. Okay, I was just curious.
Unless like it's someone like maybe a female that's younger than me and I think they might hurt themselves, and I would have to like really step in. Like I said, I'm not a certified personal trainer. I'm not going to approach anyone and say like, hey, I think you should do this or do that or anything like that. If someone approaches me and asks me, then that's different. Like if they were like, hey, I noticed you did this exercise, like, do you have any cues for me? That's totally different. But I'm not going to go out of my way to be like, hey, you should do this or do that. Like, nope, that is not my area.
I feel you. Has anybody done that to you, where they come up and been like, you're not doing the squat right, you're doing,
No, I've had people. Actually, the other day I finished a deadlift set and I had this gentleman come up to me and he was like, I didn't think you were going to get those at all. He's like, and then you got them. He's like, I'm impressed. Like, I didn't think you were going to get those. And I was like, thank you. He was like, I thought,
I guess.
I was like, he was like, and then you got 3 reps and then you did multiple sets. I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's part of my workout. Yep. I'm going to do them. I was just so confused. I was like, thank you for your backhanded compliment, I think. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of those where it's like, oh, you can lift that. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Is it just that guys are not used to seeing women who can lift heavy in the gym, or what? I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, because
I think that's what it is. I think it's because, I mean, I go to a commercial gym, so it's not like it's it's not a super big like bodybuilding gym or a powerlifting gym or things like that. So I think a lot of the males that go there, and even some females also, like aren't used to seeing other females that tend to squat heavier or deadlift heavier or whatever it is, bench press heavier than, they're the average, whatever that means, female.
Sure. Speaking of which, what are your lifting numbers? Now I'm curious.
So I haven't tested my maxes in a while.
Yeah.
So it was I'm still a little salty about this. Let me explain. So my last bulk, so it was end of 2020 going into 2021. that was my first official ever bulk. And like, I was hitting some solid numbers. Like I was trying to hit, like, I was going to test my maxes at like January of 2021. And then I ended up getting COVID.
Oh,
and then
no.
I was like, yeah,
Ah,
right on my winter break from school, like a day after Christmas, I got COVID like hard. Like I was on my deathbed for like 3 weeks, like in my bed, like didn't lift for over a month. And so I wasn't able to test my maxes after that. I was like, all right, well, there goes that bulk. Like there's no shot. Like my strength was done. Like, yeah. So I don't know what my 1 rep maxes are, but I will say I'm aiming for a 315 back squat.
Wow.
At some point this year. Okay. My working set right now is at 265. So I'm getting there.
Yeah.
And deadlift, I think I'm aiming for 375 at some point.
Okay.
And my bench, I'm trying to get that 135. I'm coming back from like a shoulder injury that I had at the beginning of last year. So now I'm benching without any shoulder pain. I'm like, that's a win. So I'm getting there. Yeah.
Those are great. No, those are very respectable numbers. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Hopefully by the end of this year. Yeah. Next time, we'll have to do like a recap, like how'd your year go? And I'll say like, all right, I hit them.
For sure. We'll definitely have to have you back on. You mentioned you would want to go for a bodybuilding competition, but have you thought about a powerlifting competition or just like a weightlifting competition? Okay.
I've thought about powerlifting. So my coach, he is a power lifter. Like he tends to do, he programs a lot for powerlifters. Nice. So he's brought it up also. And it's interesting because my programming right now dabbles in like powerlifting. And then also I have like the bodybuilding, like hypertrophy stuff in there too. So I've gotten like almost a taste of both.
Nice.
My squats and deadlifts tend to be lower in reps, like 3 to 5. And then I'll have like my accessory movements be like 12 to 15 reps. So it's like I kind of get the best of both worlds. And I think that's the conversation that I'm probably going to have with him soon and kind of be like, all right, like which way are we going here?
Yeah.
But it's tough because some days I'm like, I just want to lift really heavy. Like how heavy can I lift? And then I'll be like, oh, but then it's almost summer. And then I kind of want to like get really shredded and see like what the muscle that I built over the last couple of months. So yeah, it'll be interesting, but I'm open to both. I definitely am. So it'd be cool if I could.
Sure. I am. So would you rather, if you had the option, would you rather look like you lift as in, be aesthetically shredded and swole and not be able to lift very much? Or would you rather have, a decent aesthetic, but like be putting up gigantic numbers?
Again, I feel like it's like the time of year that it kind of depends. Cause
That's fair.
right now, having it be winter and like, I feel like when I'm in the gym, I'm just kind of like, I'm just like in my zone. I'm just in the gym just to get this done. And like, I want to feel strong. Like I'm like, I want to put up some good numbers. So it honestly fluctuates. It varies because I've been at a point where I've been super lean and have been so frustrated that I can't lift heavier.
Yeah.
Comparatively speaking, like just for myself, and I'm being like, but 5 months ago I was hitting this no problem, and now I'm super lean, but I can't put these numbers up. So it's tough. I have that like mental battle all the time.
Yep, absolutely. Want to get that summer body, but still be able to like pull, 300 and something on the floor.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Nice. What? I think you're a sponsored athlete, right? You've got brands behind you, right?
I do. I have a fitness apparel company that I've been working with for about a year now.
Okay.
Vital Apparel.
Cool.
They're awesome. Like awesome. Like that's another thing that I try to push a lot on my Instagram, at least, is quality fitness apparel, because there's a lot of very high-end companies, very pricey companies, and some of them aren't that great. And I've fallen into the trap where I've spent way too much money on a pair of leggings, and then I've worn them to lift, and I'm like, I'm never wearing those again.
Wow.
And so Vital Apparel, though, amazing, like great quality,
Nice.
great price, and like they do a lot with mental health and like advocating for mental health for men and women, and they'll donate monthly to mental health causes and research and things like that. So
Nice.
they're great. Yeah, and they've been a lot of fun to work with.
Excellent. And I think you said there was one more. I think there was one more on your page. I'm just trying to remember what it was.
But I have H2O capsule, the water bottle that I use.
Okay.
The tap jug.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're fun too.
Awesome. What's unique about that particular bottle? What do you like about it?
So I used to have there's another big one, the hydro jug. That's also a big brand name one, and I had that one for a while, but it cracked and multiple times. Yeah, it cracked multiple times, and like not even from me dropping it.
Yeah.
Like I would like it wasn't great, and it like leaked a ton. I wasn't a fan of it. Yeah. This one, H2O capsule, I have had this bottle for like 2 years now, and like haven't had any issues. And like you can change the sleeves, you can order different sleeves. Haven't had any problems with it. I've dropped this one countless times and it hasn't cracked. Because I used to have like a huge gallon one, and I was like, this is a monstrosity. No one needs that much at once. But this one's nice. I have easy handle. Like funny because all my students, like at first they were like, why do you drink, like what? Like that's a huge water bottle. And now if I don't bring it to class or something, they're like, you're slacking on your water. Where's your water? Did you drink your gallon yet today? Like, where is it? And I was like, yeah, it's in my office. It's there. Don't worry about it.
Nice. I like that. So I've heard that a couple of times now, and I know there's different schools of thought on this, but why? So are you drinking a gallon of water a day?
Yeah, I aim for a gallon a day.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Why are you doing that?
I have found, so when I first started losing weight, like it helped me a lot in terms of like keeping myself full and like not, trying not to snack on things. And I, really wasn't hungry, and it was just like, let me quench my thirst, and like that helped a lot. And that kind of just created a habit for me. And out of that, I realized like, I just feel better when I'm more hydrated. My skin looks clearer. Like I just feel like I'm more efficient, if that even makes sense. Like I notice when I'm not drinking nearly as much, and I also tend to drink a lot of caffeine. So I do enjoy quite a bit of coffee. As a teacher, there's a lot of caffeine intake. So this definitely helps, keep myself in check. But also just with lifting and taking, like I do take creatine. So like that.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. How dare she? I get that question a lot though too about creatine. So I definitely try to keep my water intake up, because I think I don't know the science behind it, but apparently you can get like dehydrated and stuff if you take like as you drink creatine and things like that. So just to avoid anything else, I keep nice and hydrated.
Nice.
My water.
Well, you've got the double. You talk about caffeine. You got the double whammy of being a lifter. They're already addicted to caffeine as it is, and a teacher, and they're like, you have to be addicted to caffeine, otherwise you can't stay awake.
Yeah.
What's speaking of this? So I interviewed another young lady, Charsti, on our podcast, and she is a gigantic fan of Bang Energy.
I don't like Bang.
Really? Okay. I thought it was going to be awful. I freaking love them now. I don't know why. I never liked energy drinks before.
They're good, but they just give me a really bad headache. Like it's just like too much caffeine. So if I do like maybe half a can, I'm okay. But like a whole can of Bang, like I can't do it. It just, it's not my thing. But they do taste really good.
Whatever the flavor. So I made now to that point, I did make the mistake of drinking an entire like rather large mug of coffee and then drinking an entire Bang after that, and I could see sounds.
That'll do it. Do it. Yeah.
Like I was so nervous. It was uncontrollable. But so is coffee your caffeine of choice, or like what do you have alternatives?
It's usually coffee. Like my first cup of coffee in the morning just needs to be a hot black cup of coffee, nothing in it, just black like that. Give me that. I'm I'm good for the morning. I'm good for the first hour of the day. After that, I'll usually do like an iced coffee. But before lifts, before leg days, that's when I consume the most pre-workout. Like I said, leg days are the worst. So I really need to get extra hyped. I've really been enjoying the PE Science pre-workout.
Okay.
That brand is really good. Also the Total War drink.
Oh, yeah.
The drinks like that are already like in the small bottles.
Huh.
Those are really, really good.
Now, do they have is it like a single serving thing?
I think there's 2 servings per bottle.
Oh.
So I usually will drink like half a bottle, and that's usually plenty for a leg day.
Nice.
So,
do you get the ones with there's some, I don't remember what the combination is that makes your skin feel tingly. I want to say theanine or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I mean, I've definitely taken some pre-workouts that have done that, and I'm like buzzing. But I'm also pretty sensitive to caffeine like later in the day. So I can't really take too much past like 2 p.m. or else I'll be up all night. And it's like I used to use Bucked Up.
Yes.
And that will keep you up forever. At least for me, like it was too much and I wasn't sleeping and I was like, okay, this is not good. So Total War, PE Science are pretty much where my level's at for pre-workouts.
I don't know how you do it even past 2 p.m. because if I go a bunch past 9 a.m., it's a 12-hour cycle for me. So I can't even sleep. Like I get you've got the caffeine tolerance being a teacher so far. But
yeah. But no, I try to avoid caffeine, late in the afternoon. But like I said, leg days, there's no way I'm getting through it without a ton of caffeine. So I'll take being up a couple extra hours that night if it means getting my leg day done.
Nice. I did want to ask you, but just before we move off the topic of the sponsorships and stuff, for the apparel that you're wearing, what in the material is the difference maker to you? You mentioned you're wearing those leggings and they just didn't work for lifting. Like, is it I don't know much about it.
For me, like I need leggings, like I like high-waisted leggings that are gonna like stay up when I'm lifting. I don't have to worry about like adjusting them all the time. Like at least from a female perspective, like that's one of my like biggest things is like I hate when I feel like I have to worry about what I'm wearing while I'm lifting.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't, that's like I'm not gonna say the least of my concerns because I do like to coordinate my outfits. I own up to it. I like having coordinated outfits, but it shouldn't be the focus of my lift. Yeah. And if I have to keep adjusting and like fixing something, or like if something's digging into my back, like a sports bra or a strap or this or that, like can't stand it. So this, company that I rep for, like everything is just comfortable. It stays up. It's durable. The material, like I said, is quality material. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but it's not going to slide down like while you're squatting or while you're doing any kind of, lifting activity. So that's what I look for primarily, is like not having to adjust things and fix how something looks. Like it just should fit well and support whatever activity I'm doing.
Yeah, I totally hear you. I honestly, like for guys too, I feel like that's an issue. Shorts in particular, for whatever reason, seem to have like gigantic issue. I mean, not every pair of shorts is meant for lifting.
Right.
But like some of them are just built like garbage, honestly. Like they really are. So yeah, I'm not a athletic wear specialist, but I always wonder what goes into the science behind that stuff. I was trying to get actually, you're talking about supplements, like that all those industries are really fascinating to me because they're hyper competitive, and the amount of technology that goes into all of that material is insane to me. So I'd love to, I want to have somebody on who can actually speak to that at some point.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to hear about.
Yeah, and I know a lot of it's imported, a lot of it's from China, and I'm sure a lot of them come from the same factories. But there's some companies, like you mentioned, that like yours, that are doing really good stuff. That, like, what in particular about the build? Like, what I love to be able to have somebody on about that. So, what was I going to say? So for people who are interested in following you on social, so what platforms are you on currently?
Primarily Instagram and TikTok
Okay.
are my two biggest social media platforms, like just dedicated to everything fitness and just like my daily life and personal life in terms of teaching and lifting and things like that.
Awesome. And just so I know what your usernames are, but just so everybody else knows, what are the usernames on TikTok and Instagram for you?
So they're a little different. So the TikTok one is Fitty, FITTY .w.mb. So Fitty with MB. And then my Instagram is just fit.w.mb.
Perfect.
Fit with MB. Yeah.
Awesome. And you mentioned you respond to DMs and that kind of thing. Is it okay if people hit you up and ask you lifting questions? And
yeah,
that kind of thing?
Absolutely. It might take me a little bit to get to it, but I definitely look at them, see them, and try to respond in a timely fashion because I always appreciated when people did that for me. So I definitely try to do that for everyone else.
Awesome. Well, you are well on your way to TikTok stardom if I ever saw anybody. So congratulations on the success.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I love the content. Keep it up and stay true. Don't I use the word sell out lightly because there's like people get sponsored and all that, but like sometimes they actually lose the genuine side of the content. Yeah, exactly. And you seem to have kept like right on it. So good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. That's what I try to project on a, day in, day out basis. And definitely a quality that I don't want to lose. And so I practice, not even practice, but like, just being honest and being, straightforward with people. That's what matters. Yeah,
absolutely. Follow Marianna on TikTok and Instagram, guys, and girls, and follow her and keep up with the content. But congratulations, Marianna! Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely,
and thank you for listening. Please give Freedom Cast a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would mean a lot to our business. Plus, it's fun to read y'all's reviews. See you next time.